Namaste everyone. In today's video, we're going to focus on Patanjali's Yoga Sutra 1.10. In this Yoga Sutra, Muni Patanjali explains to us what Nidra is and how it classifies as dreamless sleep, and also why this is a thought wave in his category of 5 different types of thoughts. So let's understand what this sutra itself stands for. The sutra is Abhava Pratyayalambana Vrittir Nidra. So let's break up the sutra now word by word and understand what it's trying to say. The first word is abhava, which refers to which is non, and bhava, which is emotion or some kind of feeling or presence. So that is abhava. Then we come to pratyaya, which refers to experience or this experience. Then we come to alambana, which is talking about something that is based on something. And then we come to vritti, which means a thought wave, and nidra, which means dreamless sleep in this case. So now let's understand this entire thing as one sentence. So Muni Patanjali is saying that the thought wave in which there is an absence of experience is known as dreamless sleep or nidra. So this is what Patanjali is telling us about this 4th type of thought wave. Now just to jog your memory really quickly, there are 5 different types of thought waves: Praman, Viparya, Vikalp, Nidra, which is what we're studying, and Smriti. We've covered all the 3 in previous videos, and now we finally come to Nidra. So why does Muni Patanjali call dreamless sleep a thought wave? And there are many debates around this section because a lot of people are wondering whether dreamless sleep is a state of mind or whether it's a thought wave. And if you study Patanjali Yoga Sutras, there are 5 different types of states of mind: Mudha, Kshipta, Vikshipta, Ekagra and Niruddha, which are completely different. So then why is dreamless sleep a thought wave and not a state of mind? Well, in this case, we consider it to be a thought wave because it is transitory. Now, as we've heard in modern science, a lot of EEGs have been done, brain scans have been conducted, and we've realized that while a person is asleep, their sleep is not entirely dreamless. There are periods of sleep where there is some amount of dream, then there's probably some dreamlessness, then there's rapid eye movement, and there's so many different segments that make up a full night's sleep. So keeping that in mind, we have realized that even if you have dreamless sleep, it is quite transitory. It does not last for long periods of time as usually states of mind do. And because of its transitory nature, it is more comparable to a thought wave rather than a state of mind. So that's firstly one of the reasons. And secondly, also because when you're in dreamless sleep, if you wake up and you're still feeling refreshed, you don't remember the dream that you may have had, then you tend to call that sleep dreamless. Was it actually entirely dreamless is quite debatable because you may just not remember what the dream is, but there could have been a little bit of a dream period even in your predominantly dreamless sleep. So keeping all these things in mind, it's best to consider dreamless sleep as a thought wave, as a transitory state that sometimes happens when we're sleeping. Sometimes it might dominate and sometimes it may not be as dominant. So this is what Muni Patanjali explains to us as a type of thought wave. And again, why is this important to know in yogic studies? Well, it's important because you need to know the different kinds of vrittis or thought waves that keep coming up in your mind. Because once you know those, then you have a better understanding of what the problems of the mind are and what are some of the tricks that the mind tends to play with us. And it's through this identification of the thought waves that we can start to work with them deeper and then maybe enter into deeper studies of meditation and mind practice. So that's why Patanjali is explaining to us this dreamless sleep. Now here's one more point of contention. A lot of times people wonder whether dreamless sleep and samadhi is the same thing. Now here are some of the technical differences. The thing is that dreamless sleep and samadhi, if we test them through scientific equipments, they might feel much the same to us because we haven't yet received different states of samadhi through scientific equipments. So on a very surface level, it might appear that, oh, dreamless sleep and samadhi seems to be the same. But if we go by yogic philosophy, then we truly believe that samadhi is something that is beyond the gunas, that is an experience that changes who you are forever if you come back out of it. And if you continue to stay in a state of samadhi, then people even can attain mahasamadhi. So there are very different types of stages in samadhi itself. But if we're just talking about Nidra and samadhi, in Nidra, it's not necessarily, beyond the gunas. In fact, usually it can be tamasic because we're just in a restful state. But on the other hand, samadhi is beyond the gunas and at best it is sattvic. So given this qualitative difference in Nidra as well as samadhi, in yogic terminology, we do not equate them to be the same, and we think of Nidra as a thought wave and Samadhi as the eighth limb of Ashtanga Yoga. So this is usually the difference. Now, I hope that has helped you to understand what Nidra is all about. Hopefully, we all get some more Nidra and less dreamful sleep, because we all know that with dreamless sleep, we can actually function better during the day. However, like I said earlier, entirely dreamless is very hard to achieve. Predominantly dreamless is something we can aspire to work towards. So I hope this has given you a little bit of an insight into what Muni Patanjali was trying to say through this Sutra 1.10. In the next video, we're going to look at Sutra 1.11, where we understand the last thought wave of Smriti, also known as memory. So do join us in the next video. And if you found this video helpful, please share it with your family and friends so they too can understand what Nidra stands for and what this sutra is all about. Remember, the most important element of yoga is its philosophy, because that's what the entire art and practice is based on. Hope we can continue to keep spreading this yogic knowledge and that all of us can learn through it. Subscribe to our channel for more, and we'll see you in the next video. Namaste.